Have you ever had one of those moments where you're sitting at dinner, surrounded by the people you call family, and suddenly, they do or say something that just shatters your perception of them? It's like a record scratch in your brain, leaving you questioning everything, including yourself. That's exactly where I found myself just an hour ago, and the feeling is still buzzing under my skin, raw and disorienting. What do you do when the people closest to you betray your trust in the most unexpected and frankly, disrespectful way? And before we dive deeper into this mess, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment for more Reddit stories like this one. It was a pretty standard evening, or so I thought. Just me, my mom, my stepdad, and my sister, gathered around the dinner table. We were chatting about my upcoming birthday plans, tossing around ideas for what kind of celebration to have. As we got to discussing food, I mentioned that one of my friends attending follows a lacto-ovo-vegetarian diet, so we needed to keep that in mind. My stepdad, trying to be helpful I guess, or perhaps just curious, piped up, "Oh, is she Jewish?" I clarified, "No, she's pagan." And that's when it happened. The sound still echoes in my mind. Both of them, my mom and my stepdad, just straight up laughed. Not a gentle chuckle, not an awkward titter, but full-blown, head-thrown-back laughter. It was like I'd told the funniest joke they'd ever heard. I paused, genuinely confused, my fork halfway to my mouth, and just stared at them. "Why is that funny?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, because what other reaction could there be? Immediately, they launched into that familiar routine, "Oh my God, calm down, and you're making a big deal out of nothing." But I wasn't making a big deal out of nothing. My blood was starting to boil because, first of all, that's my friend they're laughing at. Her beliefs, her spirituality, something deeply personal to her, was being openly mocked at my family dinner table. And second, and this is what really made my head spin, my stepdad claims to be pagan. My older sister is also pagan. How could they, people who supposedly identify with similar spiritual paths, find someone else's beliefs so utterly hilarious? The hypocrisy was suffocating. The conversation limped along for a bit, but the tension was thick. Then, just to twist the knife a little deeper, I mentioned that my friend sometimes does tarot readings. And again, there it was. That look. They exchanged glances, a knowing smirk playing on their lips, clearly holding back another round of laughter. At that point, I just couldn't take it anymore. I pushed my chair back, the scrape against the floor echoing in the sudden silence. I put my half-eaten food away, looked at them, and simply said I was done. Then I walked straight to my room. The anger and hurt were a burning knot in my chest. I couldn't just let it go, so I confronted them. I told them it hurt my feelings, that it felt incredibly disrespectful, not just to my friend but to me, for having to witness it. Their response? The same old, tired line, "You're being dramatic again." It's their favorite phrase, the one they pull out every single time I express any emotion they don't like, anytime I stand up for myself. It's like a verbal reset button designed to invalidate everything I feel. Later, the anger still simmering, I even texted my mother, hoping that in a calmer moment, she might understand. But it was the same brush off. Now, sitting here, reliving it all, a part of me starts to wonder. Am I actually being dramatic? Was it really that big of a deal? Every time I try to assert myself, every time I voice a grievance, I'm met with this brick wall of dismissal, this accusation of being dramatic. It's exhausting, and it makes you question your own sanity, your own emotions. In the aftermath, I've done some digging. I learned that pagan is actually a broad, blanket term for many non-Christian religions. I reached out to my friend to clarify, and they graciously explained that they follow Hellenic polytheism, or Hellenism, worshipping the Greek gods. Knowing this only solidifies my frustration. It wasn't just ignorance, it was active, sneering dismissal of someone's faith, someone's deeply held beliefs. And to have it come from my own family, people who claim to understand and respect alternative spiritual paths, is truly disheartening. It makes me wonder what they really believe, and more importantly, what they really think of me for having friends who are different. This constant invalidation, this emotional gaslighting, it chips away at you. It makes you feel like your feelings are wrong, that your boundaries are unreasonable. It makes you question if you're the one who's out of touch. I shared this story because sometimes, you just need an outside perspective to confirm if your gut feeling is right. Was I being dramatic, or was their reaction genuinely rude and disrespectful? It's a painful place to be, feeling like you're always fighting to have your feelings acknowledged. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks for listening.